Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Welcome back to Timeless. Today's New Year's Day. At the day off, I was just planning on hanging around my apartment, hungover, playing Magic. I fired up this old deck with some tweaks, and I won 10 games in a row this morning. I actually went 10-0 playing this, so now we got to make a video, right? So this is the old Gruul Shifting Woodlands deck with some upgrades. It's playing Duskmourn cards, and I don't think I've made a video of it since Duskmourn came out, and I definitely haven't played it very much since came out. So I really didn't get a chance to playtest this card, Say Its Name, and this guy. We're both new. And I gotta say Its Name really, overperformed my expectations. But before we go over individual cards, if you haven't seen this deck before, this is a Shifting Woodlands deck that is looking to copy, usually God Pharaoh's Gift, sometimes will copy Sneak Attack to put an Ulamog into play. God Pharaoh's Gift, exiling Ulamog to make the token, will always make the token enter with 10 counters, right? So it will be a hasty Annihilator 10. That is a good way to win the game. Alternatively, you can sneak attack in an Ulamog. You could instead copy up some of these alternative targets, like Inferno Titan and Titan of Industry with God Pharaoh's Gift, also sneaking them into play. This is a Fury deck. Fury decks are absent from the meta right now, even though Fury is very, very good, and Energy is a tier 1 deck. Fury is incredibly strong. There's just no deck that runs him right now. So Fury makes the energy matchup feel absolutely fantastic. Fury is also an alternate just cheat target with Sneak Attack and God Pharaoh's Gift. God Pharaoh's Gift, that is a 4/4 double striker. It is enough to get there sometimes. You can Sneak Attack this guy in and blow up your opponent's boards unexpectedly as well. We play all of the filtering effects in the game. Seed of Hope, Malevolent Rumble, Say Its Name. This deck used to play Cash Grab, used to play Faithless Looting as well. You pick your poison with these cards. Not to make a pun, we actually don't play Pick Your Poison in this deck. You get to play all the cheap filtering, and then you get to play the good, expensive red card advantage spells, being Fable of the Mirror Breaker and the One Ring. This helps you just draw a crap ton of cards and buy time. This lets you fill your graveyard and set up your combo, and both of these things can be copied with Shifting Woodlands as backup copy targets. So sometimes you get late in the game, you have a ring in your graveyard, and you just start copying it with your Shifting Woodlands, and the Woodland gets the counter, so you're going to draw an extra card every turn, or every time you copy it. Same thing with Fable. You could put these saga counters, what are they called? Lore counters, I think, on the Fable, and go through the sagas of Fable and the Mirror Breaker to draw and discard as like an emergency discard outlet. So it's pretty neat. As for the new cards, Say It Name has really overperformed. This on paper is a much worse Malevolent Rumble. Like if you look at Malevolent Rumble, look at the top 4, pick any permanent, you get 1 mana back. Fantastic, right? Like this is a juiced up Ancient Stirrings. This card, 2 mana, only mill 3 cards. You only get a creature or land cards. You mill those cards, which I mean is the same effect as a Rumble, more or less, just templated a little bit differently. But that's it. There's no get the mana back, no dig for a 4th card. You can't hit your God Pharaoh's Gift or your Sneak Attack off of this card. But it does have the hidden upside that it says return any card from your graveyard to your hand, which means that it's very, very useful for example, rebuying a Shifting Woodland that you milled very early in the game. Or perhaps buying a ring that you milled early in the game that you want to play next turn. You could rebuy any of these effects. You can evoke a Fury and then rebuy it with Say Its Name. Say Its Name has proven very, very strong. And there's really just like a lack of graveyard hate to punish this, because I really thought, oh wow, this is going to struggle up if I can't keep cards in my graveyard. But graveyard hate is very scant in the format right now. So this deck is definitely succeeding a lot more than it should. So get jamming this before people catch on and they start playing Rest in Peace and stuff to counter you. As for the mana base over here, it is a bit of a funky mana base if you haven't seen this deck before, because we're playing 4 Shifting Woodlands, we're also playing 4 Ugin's Labyrinth, so a bit of a strain on mana base building there. So we only get to play 6 fetch lands, 1 of each basic. It's it's good enough. Like I've played a bunch with this deck, and I think that this is the best that we can make the mana base while having Shifting Woodland and Ugin's Labyrinth available to us. Certainly not perfect, but of course you make compromises in deck buildings. It's often enough. Like our color requirements aren't too crazy in the deck. These double red spells are usually being cheated into play. Same with these multi-green spells. The only color intense spells that we're really going to cast are Channel, which is a 1/of, and Brotherhood's End, which is a sideboard card. So just play a little bit carefully if you know you have those in your hand. Other than that, for sideboard, we only have 2 cards for fair matchups. We only have these 2 Brotherhood's Ends because I think just Energy is a free matchup. Why it's so free is because, of course, you're a main deck Fury deck, but they can't, interact with you properly. I played against Energy twice this morning, right? Normal Mardu Energy. It wasn't, a bad version of the deck. Both times they sideboarded in Surgical Extraction. Both times they used Surgical Extraction and they used it on an actually useful card in my graveyard. And I still won both of those games. I won both of the best of threes and both of the games where I got Surgicaled. Why? Because there's too many combos in this deck. Use Surgical Guard Pharaoh's Gift, I'm just going to copy Sneak Attack in my graveyard. Use Surgical out this payoff, I'm just going to use a different payoff. It's like Surgical in this deck can delay me, but it can't keep me from comboing eventually. And of course, I can always just keep clearing their board with Fury and then eventually just like hard cast my stuff, which is what ends up happening sometimes, which is quite funny. Otherwise, the sideboard is mostly geared for like unfair decks that are really going to kick our butt. We have Vexing Wobble, and Disruptor Fruit, and Stone Brain, and Titan of Industry for against Show and Tell. Titan of Industry is not an intuitive one for why it's good against Show and Tell. It's got the same upside as Static Prison in Energy, where if they just cast the card Show and Tell and they don't have like a Born Upon a Wind to cast things at instant speed, what you can do is use the CTB to blow up the Omniscience. So it's just another way to force them to have it. They're not really going to expect it, especially game one. So we can go up to 2 copies because we're going to be very interested in like cutting the Furies and the red cards against those decks. We also do have 2 Endurances and 1 Haywire Might just to clean up other miscellaneous things. Haywire Might will come in frequently just because it's a good way to destroy sideboard cards. And Endurance comes in whenever we end up against another sort of graveyard deck. I think that's it for my thoughts on the deck. Like, this is really overperformed. Even this, oh yeah, this cheeky little guy. Look at his extra ability. 2 mana, discard Altenac. Return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So that's another way to rebuy Shifting Woodland. This deck gained 5 more ways to get its best land into play. And that's really, really interesting. I also hit, this guy has hit play multiple times this morning. Only once through actually exiling Say Its Name, but I've sneaked it in as an alternate sneak target. I think I sneaked it once and I God Pharaoh'd it once when I had like no other targets, or I just had like, you know, extra turns where, okay, let's get a second threat into play. So like this guy's relevant. He's a good addition to the deck, and I like that he gives you a way to discard him when like you don't have a sneak attack in your hand. And what's cool about this card is it's templated in the best possible way. It says search for your graveyard, hand, and or library. So it does not matter where Altenac is hiding, as long as he is not exiled, you can find him. And that's really interesting. Like, you can put him into play off of your hand. It's like very cool that they templated the card this way. I think Wizards, they must have asked a very good player, okay, how would you template this card so that you can actually build a constructed deck around it and not have a fail chance? They said, yeah, you need to be able to put it in from anywhere, not just library or graveyard, because you can always mill over your 1 copy, and nobody wants to play like 2 or 3 copies of this silly card just to guarantee it, right? Great, that's it for my thoughts on the deck. Let's get to gameplay. All right, game 1, we're gonna be on the play. We are already diamond, even though ranks just reset. It is January 1st. So this is an example of a hand that does absolutely nothing. Generally, what you want to see in your opening hand are not your payoff cards. You want to see like your filtering effects. You want to see your rumbles, right? So we're going to go ahead and ship this back. This hand does absolutely nothing if you think about our first few turns. We could turn 1 fetch a Surveil Land, turn 2 play this, and then like return our fetch, and then turn 3 we don't have a play, even though we'll have 4 mana in play, unless like we happen to draw a ring. Of course, we could draw filtering effects off the top, but I would prefer to mulligan and just make sure I have them in hand. Oh, yikes. We mulligan into a yucky one. So the mana base here, it's a little strained. Just a little bit, because we're playing into Ugin's Lab. So we're going to go mulligan one more time. All right. This is risky, but I don't want to go to 4, right? We're going to keep on 5. What we do have is Channel. So hopefully we can like just Seed of Hope into more mana. I think we're going to put our red cards back here because really if we hit land drops, we're just going to want to cast Rumble, Say Its Name, find a payoff, and then Channel. We're against Kahira. Wait, that's a bingo, ladies and gentlemen, for the bingo board. We're doing bingo in Discord if you didn't see. I no clue what I'm playing against. Of course, when I record, I just queue up games immediately after doing the intro, and we record them all, win or lose. Because that's the fun and honest way to do it. So it's probably Kahira Control, which is cool, not something you see frequently. Usually I would dump this right into the graveyard. Do we graveyard or hand this, actually? That's a good point. I think we're going to graveyard it, because I want to cast Seed of Hope next. I was thinking about putting it into my hand because of Channel. But my opponent is probably a counterspell deck, knowing that they have Kahira here. I'm just going to assume it's Kahira control. And the fact that they'll just like hold up a mana drain next turn, so I'm never actually going to get to channel. Or it could be Kahira Elementals. Oh yeah, it's Beans Elementals with Kahira. Cool. I played another like Beans Elementals deck early this morning, and like they had Cabaret Revels and all that nonsense in play, and we were still able to beat them up. So if my opponent doesn't have the counter magic, that's pretty good. I'd love to Seed of Hope into like an Ulamog or something there. We didn't. Oh yeah, and we didn't draw the Ulamog either. So I'm going to go ahead and cast the Rumble here. The reason I'm going to cast the Rumble is so that we get the 1 mana back, so that we have an extra mana for next turn, as opposed to casting Say Its Name. And then next turn, we're just going to like channel out a Fatty. I'm hoping to, yeah, just keep a God Pharaoh's Gift in my hand for later. We already have a God Pharaoh's Gift in our graveyard, so we can keep one in our hand. Good to keep your 7+ drops in hand in case you draw an Ugin's Labyrinth as well. But this game we have the extra special treat of having a channel. Of course, we cannot cast channel now. We could cast Say Its Name right away, but I don't see a reason to rush. We also do have the ability to just like copy God Pharaoh's Gift in our graveyard coming up. We do not have to channel one out, though I will channel one out because it's fun. You gotta have fun sometimes, right? And sometimes you draw your restricted card. And channel has been like incredibly good every time I've drawn it. It is either traded for a counterspell or won me the game every single time. Or traded for discard spell. I don't think I've had this discarded yet, but I've ran it into counterspells knowingly. Just so that I'm like pretty free to stick a 1 ring or whatever on the next turn. Let's go ahead and surveil here. Let's see if we can find another payoff alongside God Pharaoh's Gift so that we can just channel 2 things out. Inferno Titan. That counts, actually, because we can pay double red mana for him. I'll take it. And then God Pharaoh's Gift will grab a Fury. We also could have just put that into the graveyard for God Pharaoh's Gift to copy, but we already have a God Pharaoh's target. So let's go ahead, cast Channel. It's good to get the 2 out just in case like they have a Solitude or something. Solitude would go like really hard here with both of these enchantments in play. So we're going to put Inferno Titan into play. This is just a 6/6, nothing fancy. It's a 6/6 that will do a bunch of damage. It will help me kill my opponent next turn. We don't have an Ulamog or anything for the instant kill, so this is good to help us with the board pressure. And then we're going to have a 4/4 double strike going at our opponent as well. They will Solitude it. Makes a lot of sense. This Solitude's very likely to put like an Omnath or something into play. Put a Risen Reef into play, sure. What's really neat here, though, is that we can go ahead and now Fury this Risen Reef. What sucks is this gets exiled, and it doesn't go to our graveyard. Otherwise, I would just copy it up with God Pharaoh's Gift again. But my opponent is going to get to go nuts with their value here. It's going to be one of those games, boys. But we gained a bunch of life, which is neat. Alright, good combat. I would like my Fury back, please. Thank you very much. 4 damage there. And then we get to swing for 8. And this God Pharaoh's Gift stays in play. Usually this deck is just a one-shot with the God Pharaoh's Gift, right? Because we're copying it with Shift and then it goes away. And we have to copy it again. But no, this is just in play. So if I mill another creature with Say Its Name, it's just free. And that is what we're going to do. I'm just thinking about if there's anything else we could do with Say Its Name. I'm just looking at my graveyard to see if there's something I could return that's interesting. And the answer is no. I just have like normal fetch lands in here. And I have both my Surveil lands in play. I play 2 only. What are you doing, opponent? You are playing an Omnath. Makes sense. You got to do something for the board state here. They are going to get a lot of Risen Reef triggers. And they're going to be able to chump here at least. But if I mill a creature with Say Its Name, I think they're pretty dead. Okay, let's see what we get. We could also draw something. If we draw another Fury, it's very good for us. Because we could hardcast it. We just drew a Shift. That's fine. There's no... Yeah, we copy God Pharaoh's Gift, but there's no creature to copy or anything. So let me go ahead, tap like this. Oh, yeah, there's your Ulamog. Alright, cool. We win! Yippee! So here's how the Ulamog thing works. It's exile. 10 counters. Goodbye board state. So it does not matter how much, like, bullshit value my opponent gets off of their free spells. We just wipe the board. Awesome. Alright, let's do the same thing against them, right? I don't think we really have sideboard cards for them that are going to be good. Vexing Bauble is theoretically a sideboard card against them, right? It is a way to stop their free elementals, but here's the thing. If I play Vexing Bauble, they're just going to wait 3 turns and, like, hard cast their elemental. I really don't think that Vexing Bauble is good. I think Haywire Might is a fine and defensible inclusion. Because they're going to have a lot of enchantments. We already saw these two, right? But they can also have Leyline Binding or something to answer our stuff. I think other than that, like, we're really not going to sideboard much. I can think about the other Titan of Industries just to blow up their enchantments, right? And then we could say, okay, maybe Inferno Titan doesn't quite get us there as a payoff. We could maybe cut Furies as well, though being able to, like, Fury and Omnath that they play on curve is, like, quite good. So last cut here is either, like, Inferno Titan or Fable. If I knew they had counter spells, I would also, like, consider the Ring, but I don't think they're playing counter spells. I think the Ring is just free. In any deck that plays Mana Drain, I'd take the Ring out. Because the Ring does become a liability. You don't want to spend 4 mana just to have the thing get countered and give your opponent 4 free mana, right? That's pretty common sideboarding tech for a lot of decks. Like, if I'm playing Energy with the Ring, I'm sideboarding the Ring out a lot of the time if I'm playing against any sort of Mana Drain deck. I think this is a good matchup for us, though. Like we just get to ignore what they're doing, and unless they happen to be packing like a Rest in Peace or something, I don't think that they have really good ways to beat us. So this hand is actually pretty mid. It's quite mid, right? We do cast a One Ring eventually, and if we happen to draw into a 7-drop, we'll be able to do it on turn 3, which is pretty neat. I think we can keep this just because if we mulligan, it might get a lot worse. This is a deck you can loop the One Ring against, right? Because I just established they're not playing counter spells. I'm assuming they aren't. Maybe they do have them in the sideboard, but really they're dedicating all of their slots to their tap-out strategy with Omnath. Here we're just going to Surveil on our first turn. Maybe we can Surveil into a 7-drop. Hey, look at that, a 7-drop. So we're going to be on turn 3 Ring over here. Yeah, oftentimes I do get the choice between Surveiling and casting Seed of Hope on turn 1 like this. I almost always lean towards Surveiling because we could save the Seed of Hope for when we have more information and we know exactly what kind of card we want to put into our graveyard and what kind of card we want to put into our hand. Yep, my opponent's just going to be taking their time playing tap lands. I think a way that they can interact with us is blowing up our artifacts and enchantments, though, and exiling them. Leyline Binding, Haywire Might, those are cards they're going to have, right? They also could definitely have Endurance, now that I think about it. I haven't encountered an Endurance player today, but it's something they could have. This is something I'm interested in casting next turn. I am going to be very interested in casting this to set up my shenanigans. I am, in fact, going to play Labyrinth right now, because what we could do here is we could hit our Shifting Woodland off of Rumble here, so we want to have 4 mana available to us no matter what. So let's get our Soul Land into play. Because if we, again, we have a really high roll for this, but if we hit the Shifting Woodland and cards that we want to put in our graveyard, including Delirium, then this does get there. Realistically, though, we play the Ring 99 out of 100 turns next, but there's a very small chance that we hit those perfect cards. Godfather's Gift, so that doesn't get us Delirium, unfortunately. It'll get us 3 out of 4 types, but we did hit the Woodland. So if you could imagine, like, this One Ring was an Ulamog or something, we'd actually win next turn. Wild. This is a deck that very much can and does win on turn 3, but what really fascinates me about it is its resilience. Is the fact that, like, my opponent could go ahead Surgical God Pharaoh's Gift here, Surgical Ring, and I still probably win this game. Which is wild. I just, like, play Sneak Attack and then draw a fat creature into my hand. Crazy. Yeah, and if they Surgical my God Pharaoh's Gift, guess what? I have a 7-drop in exile for Ulamog. Crazy stuff, right? Yeah, so here we're just going to hide behind our Ring. We're going to play Woodland. Play Ring. We're going to draw 3 cards between now and our next turn. Ring is such a bullshit card. Like, you know, now that it's banned in Modern, people, like, breathe their sigh of relief over there. I'm not saying that I hate it and I want it banned. It's just, like, the power level of this card is nuts. We get a whole free turn here where they can't touch us. And we draw 3 cards for the price of 1 life and 4 mana. And we can keep the Ring in play if we want, or we just Legend Rule it. It's ridiculous is what it is. And this is maybe the best One Ring abuser deck in the format right now. Like, I know Boros Energy also abuses the One Ring to draw gas, but That's just abusing the ring to draw gas. We're using the ring to draw our combo pieces and stall for assembling the combo, which is really strong. You know, it's, in my opinion, a better use of the ring. Okay. Okay, so we can sneak in our Titan this turn, because we actually don't have Delirium ready or anything. I could Seed of Hope trying to hit it, but I actually really do like that idea of just like sneak attack Titan, blow this up, have a 7/7 and a 5/5 in play. The 7/7 will die, but we'll keep the 5/5. And then we'll have a creature in our graveyard so that we can God Pharaohs it next turn. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. We could have played a green land and cast Seed of Hope, trying to like high roll and hit something else. But this is going to be good enough, guys. I think this is good enough. Let's blow up the Rebels, right? The 4/4, blow up the Rebels. This is really going to slow down my opponent. My opponent is like clearly out of gas if they're putting Kira in hand, right? So take your time. Blow up that source of card advantage. This is not an elemental, it's just a kitty cat. So they don't get a Risen Reef trigger here or anything. And like, what's the worst they could do here, right? Hardcast Fury or Solitude. Cast Leyline Binding, get rid of my sneak attack. I have another one, dude. And honestly, I want a Shifting Woodland. And what I could do is I could Shifting Woodland, copy God Pharaoh's Gift, get my Titan back. Right? That's the fun stuff. Yeah, that's what we're going to do this turn. But what we could do first is we could just play Stomping Ground, see if we hit like an Ulamog or a card that literally wins on the spot. And we can also draw 3 cards with our ring. Holy moly, this deck's good, right? Like, this is a well-oiled machine. This deck was never bad. People just stopped playing it just because there's other better decks in the format, and people were playing a lot of Graveyard Hate, and, you know, people's interest move on in time. But now that Graveyard Hate is at a minimum, and it's things like Hearse and Surgical Extraction that only hit 1 or 2 cards at a time, that's why this deck's thriving. Or in my opinion, why it can thrive. I'm one dude playing the deck. I shouldn't conclude that it is thriving just because I'm having a good day. Let me really quickly cast Seed of Hope. If I hit like an Ulamog or something, it wins on the spot. We get to discard hand size here. I think we just discard a land. But the plan here is just to like shift up that God Pharaoh's Gift, copy Titan, blow up Leyline Binding. Fury, God Pharaoh's Gift. We can take the God Pharaoh's Gift back to our hand. Fury. I mean, we could also take the Fury back to our hand. Yeah, we'll take the Fury back to our hand because then we could like sneak it into play, or we can evoke it into play. Let's do that. Oh, was that? Did I punt lethal? I did miss lethal because it actually, with God Pharaoh's Gift, Fury is 4/4, not a 3/3, right? It's got 8 power. So if my opponent doesn't have a removal spell, I know that's an if, it would have been lethal. But instead, we're gonna copy up our Titan, put him to 1 HP, and like do some other good stuff, right? Blow up the enchantment, make the 4/4. I guess I did technically punt lethal, but we are playing around a removal spell by doing this. If they have the removal here, it was not a punt. We have this game locked up, right? So we can afford to play safe. I just didn't realize I had the win. If I realized, I probably would have went for it. Oh, they do have the removal. Okay. Look at me, guys. I'm smart. Oh, one thing I could have done there is I could have snuck in Fury to, like, bog this trigger. I don't think that's necessarily correct. Okay, let's go ahead and... We drew another Titan. Do we want to sneak it in or God Pharaoh's Gift it? I actually think I'd rather sneak it. Just because it's 7 power instead of 4. So we're just going to discard lands here. Let's discard these fetches. Alright, hopefully we didn't just, like, snag defeat from the jaws of victory there. Double Risen Reef, we're going to Fury those. We're going to let the second one hit play. They get 1 trigger. But if they evoke another elemental, I'm going to sneak Fury into play with that on the stack. If not, we're going to wait until end step, because sneak attack says sack at the beginning of next end step, meaning that if we put it into play on their end step, next end step is mine, right? So we actually do get to attack with it if we wait. So I'd like to wait if possible. Binding. Binding hits my sneak. Thankfully for me, I have another sneak. So how safe do we want to play? I think we want to play safe here, where we're just going to blow up this Risen Reef now. Opposed to waiting. Because what they could do after Leyline Binding is like play another elemental at sorcery speed and draw a bunch of cards. Because we have a 4/4 on board, we're going to sneak in another 7/7, right? I think my opponent is looking kind of dead. Ooh, okay, yeah, so they did have an elemental with flash here. So unfortunately, my opponent is going to get quite a few triggers here. They may be able to find like a Solitude and dig themselves out of this hole. They shuffle my graveyard in. I don't particularly care because we are going to be able to sneak attack again next turn. It's my turn. I'm going to draw a lot of cards here. Whee! Cards! Cards are my favorite. What about you guys? And sneak attack. Sneak in a Titan of Industry. I'll make a 4/4 and put a shield counter on my Rhino. All right, they've had enough, guys. Wait, we had to play a little careful there, but as you saw, they had an endurance. They shuffled in my graveyard. They got rid of my sneak attack twice, right? There was another Leyline Binding at one point. They got rid of my sneak attack twice. They played their stupid value piece and got free value out of it. And this deck didn't care. It's got so many ways to draw cards and filter through itself that like eventually you just put together another A+B combo and win. Like this deck's awesome. All right, game 2, we're going to be against Clyde the Glide. This is a good hand. We are on the draw. We are against a Luris deck. Having a Fury in your hand against a Luris deck is absolutely fantastic. So we're very inclined to keep this. We have a filtering effect to try and get where we need to go. We have Ugin's Labyrinth plus 2 things to imprint onto it. So we have to be a little smart about what we imprint. And it is going to be good old energy. So I don't use my Furies too aggressively against good old energy. Like I can Fury this. I don't think it's correct. I'm just going to play a tap land and pass. I'm going to wait for them to play more creatures. I really don't care that they get a 1/1 token. Maybe it's mono white cat tribal and my opponent's a true Chad here. Luris is a cat, by the way. Did you know that? You guys know? Ah, look at that. Orzhov cat tribal. See, guys? All right, now we Fury. And then there's the question of like, what do we back up Fury with? Actually, there's a lot of questions here. This seems like a straightforward turn of just play your Fury. No, a lot of things got to happen. We're going to want to play this Ugin's Labyrinth and cast Sade's Name before we do that, right? So it's a question of what do we imprint to the Ugin's Labyrinth? I think the answer is Godfarrow's Gift, because we don't have a way to discard it in our hand. And if we draw Sneak Attack, like off of, well, it can't be off of Sade's Name, but off of a effect in the near future, we can sneak in Ulamog with 7 counters on it if we do that. I'm going to cast Sade's Name now, because if I hit another red card not named Fury, I'm going to want to be able to pitch it. Oh, damn, that's a downside of Sade's Name. We can't take the enchantments. Tisk tisk. But here we definitely want to do Fury, pitch Fury. If we could have grabbed that enchantment, like if it was Malevolent Rumble, then yeah, I would have absolutely grabbed Fable of the Mirror Breaker and then pitch cast Fury using Fable, so that I can have a second Fury. Or maybe I would have held Sneak Attack, right? Because we were thinking about sneaking sometime soon, right? We just said that. We have an Ulamog ready to cook. What I'm concerned about, though, is that I actually don't have anything to do next turn. No. Ah, never mind. Just get lucky. So 1 ring alongside Fury is just fantastic against energy. Just fantastic, right? They can't do anything about this card. They can peddle it out of your hand. Once it's in play, they can just like play a Bowmasters and pretend that they're still competitive. They're really not competitive at this point. We do need to figure out how to actually win the game from here, though. We can hide behind this ring for a while. We can draw a lot of cards. But we do need a winning strategy to show up. It could be Sneak Attack. Sneak these boys in. Titan of Industry is also pretty good against energy because you get to blow up their enchantments. They might Static Prison my ring here. Goblin Bombardment, another fantastic one. Yeah, look at that. Static Prison my ring. So Sneak plus Red Source would be a pretty cool series of draws, huh? Ah, another ring. Sometimes the Mardu luck, it applies to other decks. Alright, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What's really funny is we can actually hardcast Titan of Industry sooner than you would believe. Next turn, in fact, because we imprint Ulamog onto this land. And then we fetch a green source. That's good. We're probably going to do that. and then just like gain 5 life, make a stupid blocker, and then my opponent is not gonna have much to do. You know, one thing I could have done instead of casting the ring right away. Oh, my opponent's just gonna ping me. But one thing I could have done, I think I should have done, is you fetch here and you surveil, because look at that delirium. And if I milled a good card to copy, I would have just been able to do it. Well, One Ring is a card I want to draw, not one I want to copy. But like, imagine that was God Pharaoh's Gift and we milled it right there. That would have been the good stuff. What's interesting is now opponents got to ping themselves. Not that it really matters. But I think we're going to hardcast a Titan next turn, and that's another bingo on the bingo board. Getting our bingos on video today. Alright, Chthonian Nightmare is a nasty one, but it's not going to be enough value for us. I mean, they got Johnny back and they get to flip him, so actually it's kind of fucked up. We got to win, guys. So what we're going to do is, I think we're definitely going to hardcast that Titan and blow up Goblin Bombardment. That will, like, neuter their Johnny. Johnny comes back. Make the 2-1. Flip the Johnny. They can't, like, flip him easily, right? Is the thing. They'd have to, like, ping themselves. So, there's a world where my opponent might wait to flip it. Let's see what they're doing. Yeah, okay. They're gonna just ping me a Johnny. Okay, yeah, and that ping fizzles. So, smart play by my opponent. They can't or really shouldn't zero here, because then they would just hit themselves in the face for 3. So yeah, little plus. Yeah, smart play by my opponent. They're navigating this well. But here, we get the good old Titan of Industry. So there's a couple of approaches here. We could just do the Titan of Industry thing, like we said. We could try to hit something off this Rumble and make a different play. We could also draw cards off the ring first. But I actually just want to put my Titan into play here and blow up Goblin Bombardment before I draw cards with ring, and the reason I want to do that is because my opponent is smart. What they're going to do is for each individual card draw and each individual Bowmaster trigger, they're going to ping me with their bombardment. Like, they sacked their Bowmaster token. They demonstrated that they know how to do that. So we're just going to hardcast this. Bingo. Dude, bingo is left and right. I didn't think we'd get multiple bingos in a video, but here we are. I'm going to gain 5 and... Or actually, instead of getting 5, I'll probably make the 4-4. Make the 4-4, blow up bombardment. Yeah. Alright, blow up bombardment, make a 4-4. My opponent was probably not expecting this one, huh? This deck's so much fun. Alright, cool. No bombardment for them. I'm going to wait to activate my ring. I think I'll do it on their end step. Because we already play our land drop, I don't have possible game actions. Yeah, I'll be 7 life. I'll take 7. And that's a good thing we got this blocker. Otherwise, they could have just like kept attacking me for free, which would be annoying. I could have given me the ring back there. Guess I would have kept the one with the extra counter on it, so I could draw the extra card. So we're going to draw 2 cards here, and then we can choose to draw 3 more and ignore the Bowmaster. Opponent gonna do here. Opponent probably pluses here. Plus attacks me. I think I just ignore their attack and take 4 damage in that case. 0. Okay. Yeah. So no attacks then. Yeah, I'm just gonna draw my cards. I'm gonna draw 3 more next turn as well, and we're just gonna try to set up a win. My opponent does get multiple triggers here. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and just draw a few more cards. So if we draw like a sneak attack, we sneak Ulamog into play. Dude, he's so good at just talking through his lines. He says it and it just happens. Alright, cool. So what we're going to do here is we're going to knock you back to our hand. And then we're going to go ahead, play you out. Sneak in an Ulamog. So this only has Annihilator 7, which won't necessarily beat their board. So what I'm going to actually do is fetch out Stomping Ground and also sneak in my Thrice Called over here. It's for lethal damage. This guy's lethal. Wow. Could you imagine that? All right. Wow. So good beat so far against Energy. So against Energy, we want the Brotherhood's End. Brotherhood's End is awesome because the second mode, Destroy Artifacts, blows up unlicensed turfs. Fun fact. Haywire Might is also very good. And then for what cards you cut, the obvious one to me is Channel. And I'm not 100% on what my next two cuts are. I think I'm going to cut Fable. That's my current thinking. If you guys think a different card being cut would be better, let me know. But that's at least what I think would be best to cut. Maybe cut one Sneak Attack as well. But we don't want our red card count to get too low because of our good old friend Fury, right? Let's run it back like this. All right, game 2 versus Mardu Energy. We have a sideboard card and we have a Rumble to set things up. So this is fantastic. We're going to keep it. The decision here is whether or not we want to play Haywire Might on 1 or we want to play our Surveil Land on 1. I think we're going to go ahead and lean towards playing the Surveil Land. We want to dig as deep and aggressively as possible for Fury, specifically. So let's go ahead and get everything that's not called Fury or Brotherhood's End out of the way. All right, where shall we hunt today? My opponent might have a very, very, very aggro draw. Titan of Industry, sure. I'd love to find a Fury. So we're going to play Besiege. We have another way to blow up artifacts, so we can just play the Painless Land right now. Fury, Fury, Fury. Nope. What do we want to do with the graveyard? We have a sorcery in there. That's another sorcery. If I let all these hit the graveyard, we hit Delirium. But we don't have Shifting Woodland in play anyway, so I think we just take the land here. And any fetch land hits Delirium for us, actually, so we got Wooded Foothills. We're grooving. Do I play Haywire Might off of this? No. We're chilling. We want to Rumble again to hopefully dig for a board clear. Okay. My opponent gets a Thoughtseize here. I think the correct card for them to take is Rumble. I don't know if they're going to realize that. They might get scared and take like Sneak Attack or something. It really is Rumble. Rumble is the card that is either going to find me a Shifting Woodland or find me a Fury. And I'm tempted to like fog combat damage here so they don't gain a life off Ocelot Card. Yeah, they got scared and took Sneak Attack. It's understandable. But yeah, that's not the correct play. They don't have City's Blessing, so I'm not going to do that just yet. I think next turn, though, I might use this just to block 1 damage, prevent a life gain. It depends, right? Oh, no, a Hearse. Yeah, okay, so that's why they took the Sneak Attack very happily. A Hearse. We can blow up Hearse, though, so it's fine. A Rumble here. Rumble, find me a Fury, please. My opponent's thinking about their purse timing, I guess. Yeah, they're taking stuff out. That's fine. Yeah, take out my sneaks. They should probably wait, but whatever. Ooh, Godfarrow's Gift, Ulamog. That's quite good. So that means we can go next turn. In fact, I actually really want to prevent them from effing with my graveyard. So we're gonna play the Might like right here, right now. And we're going to blow up the Hearse before they untap. I think that was a really bad, undisciplined use of Hearse by my opponent. They need to wait. Cool. And since they're getting close to City's Blessing, we'll go ahead and like fog this 1 point of combat damage to prevent the tokens. Because we're going to be copying up Ulamog next turn, so if they get more than 10 permanents, it's actually a problem. So one thing about Ulamog is it does die to Swords to Plowshares. I acknowledge that. They can sack 2 cat tokens, and if they have it, bad beats. However, I, in my infinite wisdom, have been telling people that they should be putting Portable Hole in their sideboard instead of Swords to Plowshares. So surely that my hard work will pay off here, and my opponent will listen to my advice. It's either we're winning this turn or we're not, by the way. Just saying. Like, they're gonna kill us attacking very soon. Like, if I didn't do that block, they'd probably have lethal cats on board. We could also just naturally draw a Fury to get out of this. Also, my opponent's thinking about Surgicaling. They should wait until I copy something with Shifting Woodland. They really should, but they can Surgical it now, and they would beat us if they were to just like Surgical Godfarrows. Wait now. They also might just be like looking at my graveyard to try and understand whether or not they're dead, so they know what to play. Yeah, this sideboard card doesn't work. Good try, buddy. So what we're going to do here is make sure we still have a basic in our land to fetch. We do have basic forest. Fantastic. Basic forest. Copy, copy. I've got Pharaoh's Gift. But okay. So again, they have a swords here. It's not going to be good for us. I maybe could have even Fury first, just to make sure the way got cleared. Nope. Cool. We get to hit our opponent for pretty much lethal. So, you know, they're allowed to stay in the game. Legally do not have to concede yet. But they have no way to get rid of this Ulamog, so they will die. My opponent will very stubbornly maybe put a static prison pointed at it. Nope, they'll let me do the honors. Alright, sick. Alright, let's get one more game in for the video. We're 2-0 so far. We're 12 in a row, by the way. Just saying, we won 12 games in a row with this deck. Yeah, speedrunning to Mythic. Alright, game 3. We're on the play. Good thing to see. And this is a mulligan, just due to mana problems. Yeah, how many lands do we run in the deck? We run 21. That's another point of concern with the mana base I forgot to bring up in the deck tech. We do like cheat on mana just because we have a lot of Seed of Hope, Rumble style effects to find more mana. We're going to keep this one even though it's kind of awkward. We have double tap land here. A little rough, but we can hopefully Seed of Hope our way out of this problem. My opponent's playing no companion polluted delta, so probably show and tell combo or something equally degenerate. Or perhaps it's going to be the rare Lurisless Frog. I have not seen this Cyberpunk Rat sleeve before, actually. I'm assuming it's from Kamigawa. And yeah, look at that. It's going to be Lurisless Frog with Grief in it. So they get to Grief my graveyard deck. Alright, guys. Is this our kryptonite? Are we going to lose to Grief? They did take Seed of Hope, which I think is correct. Oh, look at that. There's a bingo. That's a Scam Elemental without the rescam effect. I already got that bingo on my bingo card, though. And yeah, that was a good one to slow us down, right? Because ideally what I would want to do is use Seed of Hope to find, like, a forest so that my future shifting woodlands wouldn't come into play tapped or whatever. We'll do it with Say Its Name. What sucks is we don't have a fetch land in our graveyard for Say Its Name. That's a good fail case for Say Its Name, just like recurring a fetch land. Let's see what my opponent is going to be up to here. Frog. Everyone's favorite. It is frog time. Alright, let's cast Say Its Name. Not much else to do here. Oh no, that's bad. I think I'm actually going to decline here, because we already have an Ulamog in our hand. It's more valuable to have this resource in our graveyard. It's really unfortunate. We stumbled on mana. What is neat, very neat, is that we have Delirium. Very neat that we have Delirium already. We could activate Woodland if we were to draw our Soul Land. Now, we wouldn't have anything good to copy. Copying Ulamog itself is not good because you don't get the counters. Copying Ring would require an untapped Woodland, so it's a couple turns out. But if we draw any Rumble effects, we're hopefully do... Oh, shit. That is really fitting that this is the thing that, like, kills the win streak. The guy playing Emperor of Bones. Alright, I accept my defeat. Sometimes you get bad beats, and today is one of those days. We just lose, right? We do have Furies in our deck, of course, but I don't have a way to draw cards this turn. So, yeah, we're done. We're done, because our opponent goes to combat, exiles Ulamog, and throws him into play. That's so funny. I'm gonna keep this in the video just because it's funny. The one thing we lose to is the deck that hard counters us. It was a great run. We won 12 games in a row, boys. It's still possible to win. Don't give up hope. Yeah, we want to sideboard like this generally, and then like, dude, I don't know. Take the channel out. Channel in, channel out. This deck's trying to beat me up. Maybe channel in. Let's do channel. Something like this. This is going to be a tough matchup, though. Like we're fighting uphill. Our opponent gets to use our graveyard as a resource because they are playing with both Reanimate and Emperor of Bones in their deck. Like we didn't see Reanimate, but it is something that can be assumed after you see a Grief get evoked out that they're going to be running that card. All right, on the play for game 2. What we got here? We got Sneak Attack, which is good because it doesn't rely on our graveyard. So I think like we have to snap keep this, even though it's not the best hand ever. We see Sneak Attack, we keep. I'm going to Surveil here to filter our next draw. Really, we just want to see lands or like Malevolent Rumble. Yeah, dude, Deathbright Shaman too. Dude, we actually got hard countered today, guys. Ooh, Labyrinth, Labyrinth. Hold on, hold on. Hold the phone. It is possible to win this game. Everyone quiet. No doubting. There's no doubting. We can win this game. Okay? We just have to draw a big fatty. This is a winnable video game. Even if they grief us and take one, we have another. This is a winnable video game. I do not want to hear otherwise. Reanimate? We just gotta not put Ulamog in a graveyard. Alright, guys. Yep, they take my one card in graveyard. I was hoping to maybe recur that. You're an enchantment, right? Oh, dude, I can blow it up. Wait, that's actually so dope. Am I supposed to do that? I don't think so, right? Because it's not going to do anything for another, like, 4 turns. We will take the one valid option. I love valid options. Oh my god. Alright. Everyone pray for top decks. This is winnable. We have a 7-drop in exile for Ulamog. Like, we win the game if we draw an Ulamog, but we have to, like, naturally draw it, which is scary. Very scary. Our graveyard is going to be under constant pressure from these shamans. I think my opponent's going to be smart and, you know, limit my resources as much as possible. Frog, yeah, that's a very good card. No! No! Oh, we got hard countered. Oh man. You know what? It was a good run. I think this is really funny. Could not have picked a better deck to lose to. That's so damn funny. They're even playing Ulamog themselves. Alright. We need to pray here. Say its name into Ulamog and we win. It's just that simple. Oh, damn. Inferno Titan's not enough, sadly. Because they can just block this with Ulamog. Like, we could put the boy into play, but, like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, we can do damage to them. We can actually get them to 2, which is surprisingly close. A lot closer than I would guess this game would be. Dang. Alright. You know what? It's fine. I'm smiling. I'm laughing. That was a really funny way to lose this. So let's go over the deck really quick and possible changes we can make to it, because there are possible changes for this deck. This is an archetype I haven't worked on in a while. This is an archetype that no one really has worked on in a couple months. So there's definitely changes that you could make. Well, the deck unsorted itself. I like how I had it sorted earlier, where all the columns had roughly the same goal. All right. One thing that I took out of the deck that I'm kind of missing is Faithless Looting. It didn't happen in our games, but when I was playing by myself, occasionally you would get things stuck in hand. So I'm thinking maybe the 1 or 2 copies of Faithless Looting can make its way back into the deck. I really do think that Say Its Name plus Altenac should stay, though. I think, like, this is just a banger combo for the deck. And it's hard for me to imagine, like, cutting Rumbles, right? So it's hard to make room in the deck. I guess Seed of Hope is a cuttable card, but it's our only 1-drop. But if you're replacing it with Looting, though I think Seed of Hope is a much better card to play on turn 1 than Looting. Because Looting is a good old card disadvantage, as they say. The best use for Looting in this deck is using it on, like, turn 4 or 5 to, like, when you have 5 mana in play, you use your 1 mana for Looting to set up Shifting Woodlands and use your other 4 to activate it. Other than that, I think this deck is awesome. It's very, 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 very favored against Energy. Energy had no shot. You guys saw from that game. It's a deck that gets to abuse Channel. Only deck that's currently abusing Channel. It is a deck that gets to abuse Fury. One of the few decks that's currently abusing Fury. It's a deck that gets to abuse the One Ring. And it's, like I said before, it's the best at abusing the One Ring because it uses it to stall for time and draw for combo pieces. And it has ways to just, like, pitch cast cards to Fury to get rid of extra card advantage. This is great. Let me know if you have ideas. Sideboard definitely can be tweaked up a little bit. Show and Tell is a rough matchup. I ran into it twice. I won both times, though it felt very, very sketchy. So if you know good ways in Gruul to win the matchup, let me know. We do have a lot of cards coming in, but there could be a better card that I'm not aware of. Questioning whether or not Endurance is worth it. Meta's not graveyard heavy, but who knows? Everyone's going to see the video and start playing this for the next week, so maybe we'll get some use out of these Endurances. All right. Thanks for watching, folks. Join the Discord if you want to talk about it. We have a deck thread for the deck, and I'll see you next time.